Wisdom tooth. Well, who among you have not heard of such thing as the wisdom tooth? These are the teeth that a person grows last, usually at an age when he can already be considered wise enough and grown up. Perhaps some of our viewers have such teeth, and someone terrified is still waiting for their appearance. Why terrified, you ask? It is generally believed that the wisdom tooth must be removed, which means that you will have to go to a creepy dental office with all those buzzing machines and other iron things. So, no panic. Here's the thing. In fact, the wisdom tooth is removed only if its appearance causes inflammation of the gums and some other unpleasant sores. If it doesn't bother you, you don't even need to think about any terrible consequences. Napoleon's height. Do you know how tall Napoleon was? Now, many of you will say that he was small, and you'll be right, in general, of course. The height of the figure of the commander, exhibited in the Museum of Wax Figures, is only 157 centimeters tall. You must agree that is somehow not enough for an adult man. But it turns out that the museum workers were wrong in their calculations and incorrectly translated feet and inches. In fact, Napoleon's height was 5 feet and 2 inches, and that's actually 169 centimeters. Plus, it is worth considering that the emperor was measured only after his death, and by that time he had already turned 51. And the vertebrae could have been already compressed. Well, in his best years, Napoleon was at least 170 centimeters tall, and we're not taking his horse into account. Colds from hypothermia.
Thank you.
Dress warmly or you will catch a cold, our parents tell us all the time. And if we do get sick, we are reminded that at that time we didn't put on a hat and no one other but ourselves are to blame for everything. But in fact, hypothermia doesn't cause a cold, and certainly not the lack of a cap. The cause of this kind of disease are always viruses, and cold weather only helps them a little. Overcooling affects the blood circulation, and this, in turn, reduces the protective functions of the body. Then some unpleasant diseases come to us. In other words, if you have a really strong immunity, then you may not be afraid to walk in an unbuttoned jacket even in the coldest day ever. However, we still do not recommend doing this. Well, who wants to irritate your beloved mother or grandmother for no reason? Shooting a la Macedonian. Cool guys in movies usually don't look back at the explosion. And they also know how to shoot like a sniper with both hands at once, hitting twice as many targets as their enemies simultaneously. Such shooting is called Macedonian and can actually be used outside the screen. However, it is almost impossible to keep enemies on sight in such situations, and a person is more likely to just randomly shoot in all directions. In this case, we can only hope that there won't be any metal surface nearby and the hero will escape the rebound. Newton's apple. Even if you do not understand anything at all about physics and you're terrified of strange formulas with a bunch of letters and numbers, you probably heard a story about Isaac Newton and an apple that fell on the head of this great scientist and helped him discover the law of universal gravitation. We admit, some parts of the story are true, and an apple did participate in one of Newton's greatest discoveries, only it fell not on his head, but on the ground. Who knows? Maybe if the fruit really hit the scientist on the crown, Newton would have got a bump and abandoned science completely. Hair grows after death. This myth came to us from horror films and literature, and you'll agree, it is rather eerie. And who won't be frightened by the fact that some parts of the human body continue to grow after death? We even got goosebumps. But if you've already managed to get a good scare and hasten to turn on the light in the room, then we're here to reassure you. Despite the fact that no large-scale studies in this area have been conducted, doctors unanimously agree that after the death of the brain, various cells of the human body can live from 3 minutes to 12 hours. But there is not a word about the growth of nails or hair throughout the afterlife. The elongation of the nails, as well as the hair, is due to the fact that the skin of a person dries out after death as if drawn back. We agree, this is not the most pleasant detail, but there definitely is nothing mystical. Backpack. Tell us, how many of you carry or used to carry your backpack? Most of you will say that on your back and on 2 straps. How else? But according to some rumors, that is wrong. Can you imagine that? We were told that some European scientists have somehow found out that it is best to wear your backpack right on your chest. We haven't been able to check this myth and decided to ask you, what do you think about this? Share your opinion with us in the comments, and then we'll decide together how to wear it right after all.